There were no specific mentions of this particular attack that would give us a sense of something that we need, that we could provide French authorities, for example, or act on ourselves.
How is that possible? In a world where governments spend trillions of dollars and billions of man-hours to uncover where the enemy is, what they're planning, and where they are thinking about carrying out their next attack, how is it possible to miss so many signs, so many times? And how many people will have to die before something of substance happens in the global war on terror? The role of military intel in the Paris bombings and where intel gathering has to go from here or else. He is the former advisor to General David Petraeus, now director of the Global Initiative on Civil Society and Conflict, Colonel Derek Harvey. Colonel Harvey, let's get right to this. According to Associated Press, Iraq warned of attacks before the Paris assault. Here is the president then speaking, saying that we had no advance intelligence of the Parisian attacks. Who's lying and who's trying to hide?
Well, I think it's clear that we've got a long ways to go on the intelligence picture. We have not resourced nor aligned the expertise nor the concepts to go after the Islamic State enemy the way we should have in the past. We've continued to underestimate them, and those that are working the problem, I'm afraid, are not well led, and there's just not the curiosity and the investigative approaches to connect the dots. We're going to continue to have these types of problems until we got better leadership shaping the effort against ISIS.
But don't you have to then, if we're getting down to intel, Colonel Harvey, and I know that this is what a lot of people are thinking right now, when you have blood running in the streets of Paris, you've got to go in and you've got to get nasty. You got to go after these people. You have to take the handcuffs off. But then there are other people saying you can't do that because you can't screw with the civil liberties of a civilized nation. How do you find the balance between those two?
Well, it is a hard thing to do. But first and foremost, let's focus on the first things you need to do, which is get your intelligence aligned properly, have it resourced, make it a real priority, and quit underestimating the enemy. The focus continues to be by many in the intelligence community focused on the terrorism issue, on Al-Qaeda, and this idea that the Islamic State did not have the intent nor the capability to strike the United States. So they took the eye off the ball. And in part, that's because of lack of focus and leadership and understanding of the enemy. We have not defined the enemy properly, and we have not understood it properly, the kind of fight we're in. And that comes from the very top, the President of the United States.
How could the President of the United States, though, and again, we're going around in circles here a little bit, but how can a man who sits there with every major intelligence group right in front of him, the masters, the experts, looking him right in the eye and saying people are going to die, how can anybody be that naive? How can anybody just be that ridiculously naive to think it's not going to happen again? Come on, Colonel, there's got to be a way to get through to this guy.
At the top levels, there's a degree of groupthink, there's a degree of a world vision that is not connected with the reality that you and I and many others see on the ground. They're denying that reality. And in that bubble of the White House and the immediate advisors, and I think also coming from the senior echelons of the Defense National Intelligence agencies, we have got a real problem with groupthink, bad assumptions, and political correctness leading to this problem.
Is it fair to say, I got less than a minute to go, that in your opinion and the opinion of the experts, this president is going to have more blood on his hands before he leaves office because we are going to see this again, and a very good chance we're going to see it on American soil?
I think it is likely we're going to see it here on American soil. They've had the intent and the capability to strike America. If you understand the inner circle around al-Baghdadi, one knows that they're going to strike out at the United States. We just do not know what we do not know about where they're at in planning an attack against the United States, and that's where we're at today.
20 seconds. Do you put troops on the ground and just go after them and start killing everything in sight?
No, we don't do that. We have to be more precise, but there is a lot we can do on the ground and expanding our airstrikes. But on the ground, we need to get more capability out there, and we need to enhance our intelligence posture in the arena. We have limited resources, limited means, and limited direction and authorities. You don't win a war like that, and we are in a war.
It's the time that people started realizing, and I think even the Pope said it, when the Pope says that you are in a world war, people have to understand that that is where we are, and they've got to change the way they do business. Colonel Derek Harvey, thanks so much for joining us.